Sheet. This is a great review worksheet. So here we're going to sketch the graph of y equals x. Let's mark off our units. X equals 0 is like the y-axis, and y equals 3 will be green. So we have this region, and we just want to find the area, which will be like on your quiz Friday. So the area is the integral, and we're just finding area. So we're gonna, might as well do it in terms of x, because it looks pretty easy to do it in terms of x, because we've got this. We've got to find out where this intersects, and of course just this where y equals x intersects y equals 3. So if you set those equal to each other, x would have to be 3. So I'm going to go from 0 to 3 this way. And then I'm going to do top minus bottom because I'm doing it in terms of x. Anytime you're doing it in terms of x, it's top minus bottom. All right, so the top is 3 minus the bottom, which is x, and that would give you the area. And you can work that out yourself. All right, now we've got cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis that form squares. So we have these squares coming out toward us. We're not revolving, these are just cross sections. So I'm happy about that. I've just got to do squares. And perpendicular to the x-axis is going to be top minus bottom. And so it's just top minus bottom, top minus bottom, top minus bottom. So again, that is 3 minus x squared, and we're going from 0 to 3. And again, you should be able to work that one out. All right, now our cross sections are perpendicular to the y-axis. So I've got to switch gears, and I've got semicircles, so I have to be really careful with that. You've got to make sure that in here is your radius. We're perpendicular to the y-axis, so we're going to use y's. So I'm going to color this in again, this triangular portion. I'll get rid of my squares. All right, now our cross sections are going to be right minus left because we're going to climb up the y-axis from here to here. So I'm going right plus left, right minus left. And what's popping up out of here are semicircles. So notice when you go right minus left, you're getting the diameter. And so you need to make sure when you get the diameter that you divide it by 2 so that you have the radius. So the one on the right is going to be, now instead of y minus x, we want to think of this as x equals y. Instead of y equals x, we want to think of it as x equals y. So I'm going to have y minus 0, and I'm going from 0 to the line y equals 3. So make sure your limits of integration match up there. All right, now we're going to come to this washer business. So write an equation for the big radius, the little radius, for the solid of revolution revolving S around the given line. So we're going around the line x equals 3. So I'm going to draw this. And this is the region S. So let's do it again. So I'm going to get some room here to talk about it. So if y equals x, y equals 3, and x equals 0. Now I see the word revolve. So now I'm revolving it around the line x equals 3. X equals 3 is like the y-axis. So this is going to have some y's in it when I set up the volume. I'm going to get ready for my volume, pi. There's going to be washers because it's not touching it. So this region, if any part of it is not touching what you're revolving around, then you're going to have washers. I'm going to take up more room than I'm given. All right, now I'm going around the y, something vertical. So it's like the y-axis. So I'm doing it in terms of y, so I have to be careful. My y's I can pretty easily see go from 0 making it really big so you can see it. It's going from 0 to 3. My y's are. If you're doing it in terms of y, you're going to go right minus left. All right, go all the way out to the line you're revolving around first. So this will be 3 minus 0, 3 minus 0, 3 minus 0. I probably feel like I should make this bigger so that you could look at it better. All right, so you have y equals x. You have y equals 3. And you had x equals 0. Make that green. Okay, so we have this region right here. And we're going around the line x equals 3. All right, and so this piece is going to go around here. It'll revolve around. But since it's not touching it, it's going to make washers. So what I want to do is I want to go make it solid all the way across, right minus 0. And then I'm going to come subtract off the white part. So I'm saying 3 minus 0, 3 minus 0, right minus left. So this is going to be 3 minus 0. And then I'm going to take off the inside, which will be, look at the black. So this is going to be 3 minus, be careful and call that y. This is the line x equals y, which is the same thing as the line y equals x, but we need y's right now. So I'm saying 3 minus y, 3 minus y, 3 minus y. I don't really care so much about all of the words that this worksheet's making you do, but we may backtrack and look at that. And let's shrink this back down. All right, so the outer radius is 3 minus 0. The small radius is 3 minus y. So you'll be squaring this one and squaring this one. So that probably does help. All right, now let's go around the line y equals negative 1. Okay, so we're taking this around the line y equals negative 1. All right, now notice it says y equals negative 1. That's like the x-axis. So we have this region right here. We have this region right here that we're going to take over this line, y equals negative 1, which is like the x-axis. So this is going to have a dx in it in a minute. So I'm going to have pi integral squared minus squared dy. I want my y's. I already know I want my y's are contained from 0 to 3. I'm sorry. Y equals negative 1. It's like the x-axis. So it's going to have a dx at the end of it. And I've got to see what my x-coordinates are. All right, so my x-coordinates, I'm going to have to go across to where these meet, which also happens at x equals 3. So I'm going to go from 0 to 3. All right, now the outer radius is going to be created by top minus bottom, top minus bottom. So that's 3 minus negative 1, which is 4. And then the inner radius is going to be created by top minus bottom, top minus bottom. So this next inside part that I'm subtracting out in red is going to be top minus bottom, so it's this line. So that's going to be the line y equals x minus negative 1, which gives me x plus 1 right here. Then, of course, you could work that out if you had to. All right, now I'm going around the line x equals negative 1, so we're back to the y-axis. And the x and y coordinates just happen to be the same right now at the intersection. Alright, so the line x equals -1's back here. So I'm going to stick with this region. And I'm rotating this around this line right here, and it's not touching it. And they want, it's like the y-axis, so I'm going to have to do it in terms of y, which is sideways. I'm going to say red minus that blue, red minus that blue, that's x minus -1. I'm sorry, y minus -1. I'm doing this one in terms of y. So that's going to give me y plus 1 for my big radius. And then my small radius is going to be in red here. It's right minus left, right minus left, right minus left, except for I'm doing it only in this region right here. I'm just trying to blow it up and show it to you. So I don't even really have it down here. Okay, so I have the line x equals -1. And so to talk about it again, let's do it in green. You're going to go right minus left. That's y minus -1. Then you're going to subtract these two, which is going to be the axis. And so that's 0 minus -1. So that gives you 1. Then you would work that out. Okay, I'll leave you to do the area and cross section and check your answers of this one. Let's go down to this part for t. All right, t is y equals x squared. I think I'll need more room than that. T is y equals x squared. Get some units of measure. I didn't graph that very well. And y equals 4x minus x squared. You want to factor out your x. So that gives you x times x minus, that gives you x times 4 minus x. So I know my zeros are at 0 and 4. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how high it goes, but it goes upside down like this. So we have this region. And go ahead and try A and B on your own. I need to know where these intersect, and so I'm going to set these two equal to each other. So I'm going to set x squared equal to 4x minus x squared. I get 2x squared. You don't want to divide, you want to factor, so you don't miss one of your zeros. So I got it all equal to 0. All on the same side. Please don't factor out an x. I mean, we are going to factor out an x, but don't divide by it. That gives me 2x times x minus 2 equals 0. And so I know that they intersect at 0 right here. And they also intersect right here when x is 2. So this point is 2 comma something. All right, now to figure out what it is, it must be 2 comma, it should be 4. Yeah, it's 2, 4. So you can fill 2 it back into this equation, and it'll be the point 2, 4. All right, so it intersects at 0, 0, and at 2, 4. It's important to know both your points. All right, so now we're going around the line y equals 6. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y equals 6. This black region is not touching that line. This is like the x-axis. Okay, so I'm going to have it in terms of x. Something squared minus something squared dx. My x's go from 0 to 2, but I'm doing it in terms of x because this is like the x-axis. So I'm going to go from 0 to 2. All right, now the big radius is going to be, if you're doing it in terms of x, you're thinking of your y's actually. I'm going to go top minus bottom. So that's going to be the line 6 minus the upward curve. So this is going to be 6 minus x squared. And then this one is going to be 6 minus the bottom one. So that one's going to be 6 minus the one on the bottom, which is 4x minus x squared. All right, so this goes in here, 6 minus x squared. And in the other one you get oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. I was just checking my answers as I go, and I was looking at the wrong problem. So this is going to be 6 minus 4x plus x squared. Make sure you distribute your minus sign. I didn't write that very neatly. If you look at the answer sheet, it, I think, gives you the exact same thing in this case. But anyway, if they were backwards, they're squared, so it's okay. All right, and the line y equals negative 3. Y equals negative 3. Okay, in this case, we would go top. Now this one's on the top right here. This one's on the top right here. So I'm going to go top minus bottom. Top minus bottom. Top minus bottom is the outside. So that one is 4x minus x squared minus negative 3. So I'm going to have the integral. It's still like the y-axis. So that's dx. And I'm still going from 0 to 2. And then, so this is going to go here, 4x minus x squared plus 3. And then the inner radius is going to be this green right here. And so now it's in yellow, however that helps you. And I'm going to go that curve, which is x squared minus negative 3, which will give me x squared plus 3.